Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So I had a really good first week of work at the new college that I'm teaching at, but I realized that the only reason I could have such a good week was because I had a lot of safety nets in place. And unfortunately, having all of those safety nets in place is also killing me. So I'm always having to choose between a rock and a hard place, it seems like. I don't know what to do. I've been praying a lot about this, and I had a couple of dreams at night about this. In one dream, I had hit it big with one of the medals that I had accumulated, and so I could just take it easy at work. And I used to watch a lot of game shows. The host would go, "Oh, what would you do if you won $1 million?" Oh, I would quit my job. No, I would quit the stresses of my job. I wouldn't quit the job itself. If I had a safety net like that, I really do feel that way. I don't know how these people could say it on national TV. Can you imagine if you managed somebody who said that as soon as they won $1 million, they would quit their job? One of two things I think would happen: either if the boss needed to get rid of somebody, I think they would be first. Or number two, the boss will know this person really needs the money and he could abuse the heck out of. I would, even if I felt that way, I would not say that on national television. I don't know how these people could say it, right? You will never hear me here on YouTube saying that. I'll quit my job as soon as bismuth goes to $10,000 an ounce, right? Even if I actually did feel that way, and I don't, I don't think that's something to boast about, right? Certainly not in a place where your employer might hear about it. But there's something I hope to change about my own situation. You see, I really despise how I have to take the workplace as an adversarial relationship, right? So, what do I mean by that? A couple of days ago, when I got to the campus, and there was so much going wrong, right? I didn't realize I didn't have somewhere to change my clothes. I didn't realize that the classroom had changed. I was running late. I felt like I had to document all of that, right? So that I wouldn't be blamed for stuff like that. And it's just really upsetting. As I'm driving into the campus, my dean is frantically calling me. The phone's ringing off the hook. I'm already running late. And so, I used to be upset at people who drove too fast on the road because they were wasting gas and all that. But I found myself doing that the other day, and now I understand it. But not every day that when I do that. But anyways, I found myself after work and even during work documenting what was going on. Right, what I said to the students, what the students said to me in terms of not being able to find the classroom, and I found that it was taking a big bite out of my mental energy. I really did. And that wasn't the only time I felt that way. At my last job, I had been negotiating with my boss about taking a day off during the solar eclipse back in April. And I talked to her in her office, and then I went back to my office and I had to document what we said and send off an email to her. And I had tears in my eyes when I sent that email. I wish I didn't have to do it that way. And then I had a colleague who needed to take an FMLA for he needed to have surgery, and I'm glad I had colleagues who trust me and confiding in me with that. He's not originally from the United States, and he wanted me to look over his writing. It wasn't an elaborate amount of writing, but he trusted me enough to have me look over it, and it was good. The only thing that made me sad was that when I looked at the paperwork, it gave me the impression that the college was trying to get away with doing the minimum that they could. Right? They were one. They only provided him with the FMLA because they could get in trouble if they didn't, and they were asking questions in ways that would weasel their way out of giving the FMLA if they could do that. Right? It gave me the impression of that. Right? And just not a very good feeling to feel. And then I do other things in my life, and I feel like I never have to behave like that, right? So right now, as I'm speaking, I may think about replacing my car. I drive a Kia Forte. It's got 175,000 miles on it. I've walked through the car dealership a couple of times just to get a feel of it because I don't want to be in there. I don't want to be buying a car the first time I go into that dealership. So I go in there and chat with them, see what kind of used cars are around. And even then, I don't feel as great I mean, yeah, that is still an adversarial relationship, but not nearly as great as when I was in the office, right? I'm very sincere about that. And then I go to a board game meetup every Monday night, and there's a girl there that I like. We'll call her Kelly because you can think of her as Kelly Clarkson. And the only issue I have that's making me nervous about her is that I like the rest of the group. I would hate to ruin it. At the same time, I'm also having a good conversation with Kelly anyway every Monday night. And so, do I really want to push the envelope and ask her out on a date, which, even if we started dating, would not really improve my feeling with her, right? So, that's the only problem I have, right? Other than that, it's not adversarial. When we talk about what we plan to do next Monday, or even in between then, we don't document it and hold it against each other. No, we just go with the flow, and we still have a good time, right? The same goes with the rest of the people at that group. There's another girl that I knew from another meetup. I was at another meetup. We'll call her Evelina because she's Russian and because of her lifelong bachelorette kind of situation. I think she's asexual though. But I used to know her at a different group, and I had a falling out with somebody else in that group, and she decided to come see me. I stopped going to that other group, and so she decided to come see me at the Monday night group. I knew she wouldn't be interested in me. This Evelina wouldn't be interested in me. So I asked if she could observe me and Kelly to kind of decipher what's going on. And she suggested that I ask Kelly out on a date. And I want to. I just don't want to rock the entire situation, right? And so that's the only drama I have. Other than that, I don't feel like I have to. When Evelina said that she was going to come see me at this new group, she felt sorry for me that I had the falling out at the previous group. I didn't feel like I had to document stuff, right? I didn't feel like even when I told Evelina about the situation at the last group, I kind of overreacted to some things. I forgot that a lot of people drink at that meetup. That's a big. I wish alcohol didn't exist in this universe. I almost thought about moving to a country that had some religious issues against drinking. I was dating a girl from a country like that. And I almost thought about moving with her there just to get out of the alcohol scenery. It's just too much for me to deal with. I can't deal with people who are drunk. Anyway, and I so wish that at my workplace we could do things on a handshake. Not because I don't like documenting, not because I'm bad at it, just because that it gives me a bad feeling that I have to do it at all, right? Kind of reminded a couple of years ago, here's another place where this comes up. I was living in a shared housing situation, and I discovered that I couldn't leave anything in the common area. It would disappear. And it's not like I'm leaving anything valuable there. I'm certainly not going to leave my cell phone, my computer, my precious metals, or it's not like I was leaving that stuff in the kitchen for anybody to take. No, I'm talking about paper towels, utensils, stuff like that, right? And I couldn't even, I would go out to Target. First of all, when I got there were no utensils. I was in a mess because I had been driving on the road 6 hours. I just wanted to sit down to a meal. And there's no utensils. I have to go to Target to buy some. By the time I get back, my roommates leave a mess out of my stuff, right? And then after I'm done eating, I clean up. I put the utensils in the kitchen drawer. Next thing I know, they disappear. And I was talking to my roommate. He's an EMT. And I asked him, what's up with this? Where should I keep all this stuff? And I was naive. The roommates that I had were, I want to say, a little bit younger than me. I was naive. And he says, it's just keep them in your room. And yeah, it's not hard for me to take my utensils, my dishes or whatever to my room after I'm done cleaning with. That's not hard. The hard part is accepting that we don't have a camaraderie kind of situation, right? And so instead of doing that, I went back to Target and I decided to buy enough materials for everybody. Utensils. I bought hundreds and hundreds of packs of toilet paper, paper towels, uh, and this was in 2021. So the people at Target probably assumed that we had another COVID scare. And so I wrote a little note for my roommates, and I'm like, let's try to keep everything back in its own place. I mean, we want to live like a family, don't we? After all, I assume most of us are single here. It's really important that we have some direction in life, isn't it? I wrote a little note. I think I even showed you guys on a video of myself writing the note and leaving it in the kitchen. So, and then I still couldn't trust my roommates. That's the sad part. So I decided to count how many forks I had in the kitchen drawer, and so I went about my day. I went to work the next day. I went to a meetup. Then I came back. And I decided to go back to the kitchen drawer to count the forks to see just how much I could trust my roommates. The previous day I had bought, I think, 50 of them, and I went back to the kitchen to count the forks, and I couldn't believe what I was counting. It was 50. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, so I demanded a recount. Counted it again, and it was 50, and I felt really good. And unfortunately, it took a lot of muscle to get what should have been. Oh, what was really funny was that the two forks that had disappeared the night before also reappeared. There were 52, including the two original ones. And I suspect it was actually the EMT guy who took the forks, because he was really defensive about how I should take my forks to the room if I wanted them to be there. And then when he saw the note the next day, the forks reappeared. I suspect what had happened was he probably took them to his office. He works 12-hour shifts, right? That was probably the last thing on his mind. He tells me that he had COVID patients dying left and right. And so it was likely the last thing on his mind, the forks, until he saw that note and decided that he couldn't be the one to cause trouble in the house, right? Anyway, it's just sad. It's just sad. It's not hard for me to document with HR. It's not hard for me to hide my stuff. It's not hard for me to try and negotiate with my potential roommates. I wish I could have stayed there longer. I really that was really beautiful, the situation with the forks and negotiating with them. Unfortunately, I had to go back to the office at Washington Tech not long after that. And you know what? You know what? Now that my work is closer to, oh no, it's not closer because that was Levine. If I ever take a job that's closer to that end of town, I might look into getting that place again. That was a really unusual dynamic, that's for sure. The other thing I like about that place is that it had an outdoor patio. Now that I do metal work, I think I could swing it over there as well. All right. Please continue to pray for good working relationships. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.